Hey everybody, it's Kevin VanOrd here, and I'm seated with Jason Haber from Electronic Arts, and you want to show us SimCity, Cities of Tomorrow.
That's right.
Now this is an expansion pack coming out sometime.
Yeah, it's coming out in mid-November, November 12th.
There you go. Perfect. And why don't we have limited time, so you really should jump right in. Show us what makes Cities of Tomorrow the place of the future that we want to exist in.
All right. Well, first of all, one of the first things we want to show off is this is our mega tower. Our mega tower are these giant multi-zone massive structures, and they hold thousands of sims. They're really amazing. As a player, you actually own these mega towers. You can see they're just really dominate your skyline, and they're great. We really love having them in the game. They're a lot of fun. They really change the way you play the game. And actually, mega towers, they're composed of levels. So you can see here, this is where I add a new level to my mega tower. You can look over here, see what's needed. I can add an apartment level here. This will give me more, so allow my Sims to give them a place to live. They can work in the mega towers. They can go shopping in the mega towers. So I can create sort of a little mini simulation. There's sort of little mini city simulations in themselves.
So what are all these? I see these pathways that are connecting your towers above the streets. What's that all about?
So these are sky bridges. This is where my Sims can travel directly between the mega towers. If I zoom in close, you can see they're on their little mag cars there, traveling between each other. And this allows you to connect the towers directly. They'll travel on these instead of traveling on the roads themselves. So it just gives you a new way to manage traffic, sort of layer your transportation. And actually, with this mega tower here, if you look closely, you can see it's not even connected via regular roads to the rest of the city. It's only connected via the sky bridges.
Does that actually, can you run into problems doing that? Can you actually get, big traffic jams up above the city streets if you get too carried away with that?
Well, as long as you're careful, you won't, and you don't even need to be that careful. They travel pretty smoothly. I mean, if you really push the simulation, just like with any other thing in the city, you can sometimes maybe be able to get in a situation like that, but it's very difficult. You should have to try to do it.
So this is sort of the, I mean, when I look at this, I think of, this is like the Disney City of Tomorrow when I go visit Disney World. What else is going on here that makes this such an ideal place? How does the, how does the economy function in a beautiful, clean, gleaming place like this?
So this is our utopian style city, and really what's made it look utopian is the fact that it's a very high wealth city. So all of these are high wealth buildings. You can see here they're all in the wealth 3 level, and that's because I have this specialization called the Academy, and that's really drives me to want to have a high wealth city around me. And the Academy does all this research, and it actually does better research based on having higher wealth Sims in the city. And actually, if I look at the research panel here, you can see all the different types of research you can do. You can do the Maglev Station, which is this sort of light rail you see flying around the city. You can do things that clean up pollution or give you new ways to power your city. New levels for your mega towers. So actually it looks like I'm researching a waste reduction level for my mega tower right now. And even down here, this one of my favorite is the ground scrubber. And what the ground scrubber does is it allows you to actually just suck up the pollution from the ground and turn it into air pollution and also radiation. So if you have a city that's had a big radioactive meltdown, you can actually go in and clean it up. It's a lot of fun.
So let's go ahead and take a look at the Maglev system, because I'm totally into anything that lets you get around in different ways in SimCity. So
yeah, well, so just like the sky bridges let you connect towers together, the Maglev is a new form of light rail transportation that actually travels above the roads, unlike the current light rail. And what I do is plop down a Maglev station that comes with a train. Then I can add some track to the city. And what's cool is I don't just have to follow the roads. I can actually go off-road with my Maglev. So you can see here it goes off the road, and it actually goes over other buildings. So you see here it's going over this fire station or over this park. You'll actually see buildings develop right up to the Maglev. They won't develop through it, so you have to think about where you're going to put it in your city. And with the Maglev, I can actually use the raise lower tool with this as well, just like I can with any other road. Draw a straight one, actually. So you see here, I can go down here, and then I can just use the standard raise lower tool, which you can't see from this angle, but trust me, it's raising and lowering it.
Yeah, I can actually totally see
it. There we go.
So
I can use that to sort of move my Maglev around the city in different ways and set it at different heights.
But you could potentially find yourself, if you get too carried away with that, you could find yourself in a little bit of a crisis where you're not able to get the population you need because the structures beneath the rails aren't going to be able to rise only so far, right?
You would need a lot of maglev in your
Really?
city to
Okay,
do that
good.
because it's pretty thin and our the development is pretty smart about it. So it's really just going to look at that very thin area under the maglev, and they'll develop right up next to it and get pretty close. I mean, you can see here
nice.
they're pretty close. They'll go right next to it. It's funny because I grew up in Michigan, and they have the people mover in Detroit, and actually goes right through buildings or right up next to the buildings, and this reminds me a lot of it. And so it's funny because I use this setup a lot with my academy. I really like having the academy over on its like circular road with the maglev sort of moving around it. I just think it looks really nice and gives it this nice look.
So future requests then let us put rails directly through certain structures. I'm sure you can just pull that right out of your hat. It's very simple to pull that off.
Nice. The other thing I wanted to show you actually was this is our launch arcology. This is the pre-order exclusive, the limited edition. And with the launch arcology, it's sort of an homage back to SimCity 2000. And what you can do here is it starts out as a tourist destination. So you can have your tourists come in. But you can also make it into a prison, so your prisoners will be dropped off. And then if you have any homeless in your city, they'll actually just sort of stow away on their own. They'll just do it on their own. You can't stop them from coming in. And once it gets full enough, I'll be able to launch this off into space, and you can watch it take off.
Well, Jason, this all sounds perfectly lovely and futuristic, and it's the ideal version of what we want from the future. We're sending people into space in this beautiful arcology, and look how clean and metallic it looks. But this surely isn't everybody's version of the future, right?
Of course not.
So as it turns out, you have another city in progress, and we're going to go over and take a look at just what a different vision of the future in store for us.
Right.
Now, Jason, this place looks disgusting. What have you done to our future? The children will not look up to you in the future. You've destroyed their world.
That's right. Well, so one of our goals with the Cities of Tomorrow expansion pack was allow people to create two different types of future. So before I was showing you sort of the utopian future. Now this is sort of the more dystopian future where this city's actually been taken over by consumerism. I've partnered up with OmegaCo, which is this mega corporation that's really all about making lots of money. You can see my bottom line here is actually huge. I'm making tons and tons of money. And they make money by sort of taking over your city, by converting it over into their OmegaCo empire. So this is my OmegaCo factory. It takes in oil and ore, and it'll actually convert it over into this mysterious substance called Omega. We like to call it the last technology you'll ever need, and it's sort of purposely undefined. And it'll ship this Omega out to the industry and commercial buildings in your city. And as it does that, it'll convert them over into OmegaCo franchises. So you can see here, we've got an industrial building that's been converted over into an OmegaCo franchise. Now, as you progress through this, instead of making money off the Omega you're selling, you actually are going to make the money off the franchises. So you'll get franchise fees from those buildings. So you can see here, it sort of tracks how much industrial and commercial I've converted over into franchises. In order to convert my residential buildings over into franchises or subscribers, you need to unlock the drone module. And you can see here's some of my drone modules. They actually allow me to create these drones that travel on their own layer of traffic. So once again, we've got another layer of transportation here. So this generic drone will actually eventually go over to a residential building and convert that over into an OmegaCo subscriber. So you can see here's one of my residential buildings that's been converted.
Now, do the drones have to follow the path of the roads beneath them, or can they go willy-nilly as they please?
Well, they'll stay on the roads, and one of the reasons they're robotic drones. So they have their own lanes of traffic, and if you get tons and tons of drones, you actually can see a little bit of traffic, but they're pretty efficient. They don't need to stop at intersections really or anything like that. So
all right,
they're pretty fast. And actually, once your residential's been taken over or has gotten enough drones, the drones will go shopping instead of the Sims. So the Sims just sit at home, and they send the drones out to go to the commercial buildings and buy their goods and bring them back, so they don't have to leave.
Man, that's a great way to avoid Black Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
So I got a question for you, because over in the utopian city, we saw that high-income residents were really important. But I see, you've got your big tower and it's like advertising cheap apartments.
Oh, yes.
Is this where your low income residents are going to be thriving?
Well, OmegaCo naturally will keep your because of the pushback of OmegaCo. OmegaCo makes your city really polluted. and it causes lots of sickness and crime. So it's a lot harder to keep the higher wealth here. So it's sort of better to have lower wealth, and they actually prefer your lower wealth shoppers. You actually end up making more money off the lower wealth when you're playing with Omega Co.
Jason,
so
look at how
sort of
you've
good to do
ruined the
that.
environment. This is crazy what you've done here.
That's right. It looks like my crime's doing okay. Might be because I have some law drones flying around the city. But yeah, I mean, that's sort of part of the fun of playing with Omega Co. is like you make a lot of bottom line money, but it ends up costing you in terms of the environment and all the resources you have to provide for it.
Right. Now, I know that, people that aren't playing with the expansion can still have, see the effects
Right.
of people using the expansion that are in the same region. How does that work exactly?
Well, let me show you how regional play works in general. So as an Omega Co city, I can actually send Omega over to my neighboring city. So let's say this is a city that my friend's playing that doesn't have the expansion pack. Just like I can share other services, I can actually send them Omega trucks. You can see I have here Omega Co trucks sending Omega over there. It'll actually start converting their buildings into Omega Co franchises. And once I do enough, I can actually get a franchise profit from that city. So you can see down here, I've converted that city over into like an Omega city, and I'm actually getting a profit from that city, a big profit from them. So while I'm spending the money to send my trucks over there, I actually could make a profit from them.
And are they going to start seeing that kind of difference visually in their own city?
Yeah, so they'll start seeing their own buildings convert over into Omega Co franchises as well. And they'll get the income from those franchises without having to pay the expense.
And what if they have a neighbor that's built a utopian city? Is it possible that their city could actually take on elements of both?
Yeah, so actually anything that the Academy researches will be available to everybody in the region who has the expansion pack. And there's certain items that are also available to people who don't have the expansion pack. So for instance, there's a wind power amplifier, which will double the output of your wind power plant. And even non-EP players or players who don't have the EP, the expansion pack will be able to use that in their city. So you can see here, actually, in my Omega Co city, I'm probably using some Academy technology for garbage things. And you can see here I'm buying it from my neighboring city. And this is just like the way that you would buy power or water or sewage from a neighbor. You can also buy ControlNet. And actually, if I go into my data layer here, I can open up the ControlNet map. You can see this ControlNet wave coming in from the neighboring city into this city. And it looks like I'm powering some garbage atomizers over here, which will just take my garbage and just turn it into nothing. Of course, it's expensive to run it with ControlNet, but that's where I'm getting the ControlNet from. So,
well, it seems like there's a lot to think about when you add the expansion to the existing game. Now I know you said at the beginning of this, but why don't you tell us when this is coming out?
Sure. So SimCity Cities of Tomorrow expansion pack is coming out November 12th. Should be available at your store and through Origin.
Yeah. Well, it sounds, honestly, I'm looking forward to it. So,
excellent.
Jason, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for showing us some of SimCity Cities of Tomorrow. And I look forward to seeing just how I can ruin the future for the next generation and the generations to come. So thank you very much.
No
and
problem.
we'll see you next time on GameSpot.
See you later.